The regular session of the fire board meeting is called to order, dated June 26, 2023. Roll call, please.
Mr. Forrest?
Here.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Here.
Mr. Joseph?
Present.
Mr. Bruno?
He's here.
Mr. Ridgestall? Mr. Mayu? Mr. Wells?
Here.
Mr. Vial?
Here.
Ms. Hyde?
Here.
Ms. Coates?
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. The gang's here. Adoption of minutes dated May 22nd, 2023. I'll entertain a motion.
So move.
That's Mr. Vial,
Yes, sir.
seconded by
Second.
Mr. Wells. Roll call.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgestall?
Yep.
Mr. Mayu?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Coates? Mr. Forrest?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes. Okay. Independence Fire Matters, ratification of one full-time employee position. Should be in your packet. Carla, you want to address it? Carla? Independence Fire Matters?
Yes, sir. I'll make that motion. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Second here.
Motion by Mr. Bruno, second by Mr. Vial. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgestall?
Yes.
Mr. Mayu? Yes. Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Coates? Yes. Mr. Forrest?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes. The motion passes and is so ordered. Hammond Fire Matters, ratification of 4 part-time employee positions.
Just here to answer any questions. That's what you paid me for.
Any questions? I entertain a motion. Mr. Wells
I so moved, Chairman.
and Mr. Mayu. Roll call, please.
Mr. Ridgestall?
Yes.
Mr. Mayu?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Coates? Yes. Mr. Forrest?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes, and motion passes. So ordered. Thank you, Chief. Manshak Matters, disposal of inventory.
This
What
was
is
all-
George? Okay.
This
Okay.
was all stuff lost in Ida.
Yeah.
Also move.
Okay. we
I'll
got the tag-
second.
We got the tag on there.
I'm sorry.
I got the tag
Okay.
numbers are listed on in your packet.
Okay, we'll square it away. Bridget, you made that motion? Mm-hmm. And who seconded it?
Mr. Wells?
Kim, Ms. Coates? Okay, roll call.
I'll take it.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Mayu?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Forrest?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgestall?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes, and motion passes, so ordered. 8th Ward Fire Matters, ratification of one full-time employee position.
So move. Second.
Was that Mrs. Hyde?
Yes.
Made the motion, Mrs. Coates seconded the motion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Coates? Mr. Forrest?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgestall?
Yes.
Mr. Mayu?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes. That motion passes, so ordered. Ponchatoula Fire Matters, Ponchatoula Matters, ratification of one part-time employee position.
So moved.
Second.
Who was the second?
Second here.
Mr. Vial?
Was that Mrs.
Ms. Hyde?
Ms.
Mr.
Hyde
Vial.
made the motion, Mr. Vial seconded the motion. Roll call.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde? Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Forrest?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgestall?
Yep.
Mr. Mayu?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes, that motion passes, so ordered. Thank you all. Administration Matters, Laura White will present the audit report for the year ending December 31st, 2022.
I give y'all a packet. It's got 2 reports. Inside the front cover of the thicker report is the power presentation, and this is what we're just gonna go through tonight. It has page numbers that reference to the bigger report here. If, when you go home and you really wanna dig deep, the details are in here.
Okay,
So we're gonna jump straight in. I've been requested to move it through, so we're good to go. So this is the financial statement audit for Tangipahoa Parish Fire District Number 2 and the 9 component units that are included. Specifically excluded is Kentwood. Let's turn the page, and it shows you the non-volunteer fire departments that are reported.
okay.
Flip the page. The highlights to the audit are you received an unmodified opinion or a clean opinion, grade A, for the year. There weren't any material issues with the financial statement, and there weren't any issues that made me want to qualify the opinion. So the district is continuing on the right path. In the report is the document that's referred to as management's discussion and analysis. That's on pages 5 through 8. It's a short document. It's supposed to be in plain English for just the reader to understand the bulk of the report, but it's really not. So if you really don't want to read the whole report, just read those 4 pages and you'll get the idea. Only public funds for the volunteers are reported. So if it's their fundraising and they've kept it in a separate account and they didn't commingle it, I do not audit it and I don't look at it. That's their money, and so we're only looking at public funds. Again, I restate that Kentwood, they report with the city, the town of Kentwood. It's in their audit report there.
Okay.
So Fire District Number 2 showed an increase in net position of $1,130,459, and the volunteers, the non-volunteers as a group, had a decrease of net position of $548,100. Flip the page. This is regarding the volunteers. These are the 4 fire departments that had positive change in net position: Husser, Hammond, Manchac, Wilmer. Below are the fire departments, the 5 that had a negative change. It means they used more resources than monies that came in, revenues. But we can explain that later. Independence, Laranja, Natal, Benny, Ponchatoula, and 8th Ward. Laranja Volunteer Fire Department is the only department that has a negative net position at the year. They have a deficit, basically. Flip the page. This slide is just regarding Fire District Number 2. It's a 4-year comparison. This is the statement of net position, and it's on page 10 of your big report. And if you look on the very bottom of the chart, that's the 2022 numbers. It's the green column there. Total assets for the district were $17,441,503. You could say that 50% of that is the capital assets at $8.2 million, and the receivables, which is the property taxes and state revenue, that's about the other half, that comes to $7.3 million. I did want to point out to y'all on the financial statements this year, y'all have what's called a deferred outflow of resources. It's $855,883. And that's where the fire district has prepaid for 2 fire trucks. The first fire truck was the Kentwood fire truck that was paid for in 2021. That's $350,760. And then in 2022, we prepaid for Natal Benny a fire truck of $505,123. As of December 31st, 2022, those trucks had not been delivered. Kentwood's truck got delivered in February 23. They're a deferred outflow because they're just there. Y'all paid for it,
No interest, we got
there was no interest, you took your public money and you sent it out. And we're gonna discuss this later, but I just wanted to point that out to y'all. We're gonna flip the page. Fire number 2 only, liabilities and net position, still page 10 of the big report. Total liabilities, $2,372,035. The largest component of that is, it's the due to volunteers. This is the first quarter allocation that gets paid in January of '23. That's $1.7 million. We had a total net position for fire number 2 at $15,925,351. And it is evenly split between your net investment of capital assets, fire trucks, buildings, land, equipment, that's in Fire 2's name, and unrestricted net position, you can see on the bottom there. All right, flip over. This is still fire number 2 only. Revenues, this is going to be page 14 of this, and it's referred to as the statement of revenues in your report. We had total revenues this year of $8,572,935. Again, this is the green column on your comparison, and it's the bottom. You'll see a nice little uptick of property taxes from 21 to 22. It's around $600,000, and you'll see it on the bar graph. State revenue sharing stayed kind of stagnant. But 2% fire, we had a nice bump. It was unexpected, and that's not a dollar amount that y'all can control. State legislature decided to give y'all some more. I can't tell you if you'll get it again, this extra. Keep your fingers crossed. So that was $640,416, and if you look, it's double what it was. Well, it was $300,000 more.
Laura,
And then look, I wanted to point out to y'all, I mean, I know the economy isn't great,
Laura,
but look at interest income. It went up really good.
I'm looking at this at the bottom. In 2019, the revenue was $5,845,000. And 2 years later, it goes to $7,104,000. So that's $1,200,000, 3, something like that. That
Yeah,
revenue has
1.2.
increased. Okay.
So the district, I mean, some areas of the district, y'all have a lot of growth, you know, and that helps out. So, so that's your, revenue. And then, let's turn the page. So this is fire district number 2. This is the expenditures, again, page 14 in the big report. Total expenditures, $8,198,575. The largest component of this is the payments out to the volunteers per the fire contract. It's roughly $6.6 million. It's slightly up $700,000, but as property taxes increase, you're gonna see the payments out increase. That's just the nature of your contract. And we did have, you know, some other items that went up, but you also had some that went down. So we'll turn the page. So pages 16 and 17 in the audit report are the volunteer financial statements. This page here is all 9. This is on their balance sheet. And you can see the different fire departments, but cash and cash equivalents for the volunteers as a whole is $5.8 million. You got some investments, and that's primarily Hammond and Husser. They have some CDs that are longer than 12 months, $320,000. And then you can see the different components there. The due from other governments, that $1.5 million, that's fire number 2 owes that to them. So that's how that works. And then you'll see they have their own assets that's in their name. They spent their own money, is roughly $1.5 million. So total assets for the non-volunteers is $9,536,843. And then the sections below, you can see the different liabilities, accounts payable, $418,000. Payroll and other related liabilities, $131,000, and then you have long-term debt. You have the current portion, $56,000, and then the non-current, that's more than 1 year, $693,000. So total liabilities, $1.3 million. And then down below is the equity, the net position, and all of their funds are restricted for firefighting purposes. So that's the balance sheet of the non-volunteers. We can move to the next page. I had to split it to 2 pages So you've got 5 on one page and you got 4 in the total column on the next. In the audit report, it's presented the same way. It's page 18 and 19. Towards the bottom, you can see there's a line, it's called change in net position. You can see the dollar amount down there of which fire departments had a negative change. On this first page that we're looking at, Independence had a negative change of $89,034, and Loranger had a negative of $95,463. Independence is, they finished building their training center, and they donated that to the city. There was an agreement that y'all all approved that, you know, they were gonna give it to the city. Well, that donation is still a financial transaction, and that affects this. So that's part of this $101,000 that got sent out, a value or accounting number is there. So that's their negative change. But they had sufficient beginning net position of $377,000. So they're not in jeopardy. So next to Independence is Loranger. So Loranger bought some equipment during the year, but also Loranger also is still continuing the construction of that fire station that got destroyed from the hurricane. So those expenditures are in here. Unfortunately, there's just not another, you know, there's other expenditures in there.
Is the truck still an issue in that? The truck that they bought from Ponchatoula?
Well, the financing is, yes.
Okay, so
they
that's-
haven't paid it off.
Yeah, but I mean,
It's in that debt service column. So you see right above, if you find the Loranger, so they paid $11,625 in payments on that fire truck.
last year.
Yeah,
They still paying them.
But
they're still paying on it.
I guess my question is, Laura, once this truck is paid off,
I think they're gonna be fine.
Okay.
But they still wanna, they're getting closer, you know, this number used to be worse.
yeah, because
So I think
I
last
don't
year was
want,
11,000, so,
I don't want people to misconstrue that it's something that's tangible, that's there, and they're paying on it.
Right.
But it was the way that it was set up that makes it look odd.
right.
And I wish
It
there was a
is.
way we could straighten that out, because it kind of puts a blemish on this, but they have made their payments. How much longer y'all got on that truck, Justin? 4 more years? So I guess we could just let it ride and let it go 4 years, but I'd like to see if we could do something
So
to.
the other thing is you have to look at yourself. Y'all did that loan just to avoid to do conventional loan. So if it was with a bank, they still would have had to pay that loan payment. So, you know, some businesses, you just have to cut expenses in other areas. And not all your insurance proceeds paid for all your fire department destruction and repair. So, you know, maybe once y'all get past all of that, y'all can really look at it and it'll all start kind of balancing out.
Okay.
Okay, the next page is Natal, Benny, Ponchatoula, Wilmer, and 8th Ward. And then Natal, Benny had a deficit, Ponchatoula had, not a deficit, a change in net position that's negative in 8th Ward. So Natal, Benny bought a fire truck. Natal, Benny had sufficient beginning net position. They had a negative net position change of $417,000, but they bought that fire truck of $505,000. They had $1.2 million in beginning net position, so when you have something like that, it's not really a negative thing, it's just that's the reason. Same thing with Ponchatoula, they bought some equipment for $539,230. Again, it resulted in a negative of $149,000. They had $2.4 million in net position to start the year. So that covered their excess. And then 8th Ward, their excess was $71,000. They bought some equipment for $62,000. Even with their Walmart money they still had the deficit. So had you not had that, it would have been 130-something thousand. So again, I didn't see anything massive in theirs. Their repairs are kind of high. They had 155,000, so there's something there that's not normal. So, okay, that's the volunteers. Go to the next page. This is the schedule of long-term debt. This is Fire District number 2. All we have is some vehicle leases and the radio leases. At the end of December 31st, 22, the district owed $368,626 on those leases, and you're going to pay in the upcoming year, 2023, $138,168. On the last page here, the notes payable, the debt that's owed for the component units is on page 37. And it's not a whole lot. Natalbany has the largest with their USDA loan, but they're compliant. Note 10 is your tax abatement. Note 13 is prior period adjustments. It was 2 small ones on the volunteers. And then wanted to let you know on page 45, that's the second opinion that I have to issue, and that's on internal control and compliance with Louisiana laws and regulations. There was not an internal control finding over financial statements. Your internal controls are great. The whole arrangement that y'all have with James Lambert Riggs being your outsourced accounting CFO department, that has really helped. We have 1 compliance finding this year, but you got a clean opinion on internal controls over financial matters. All right, the next one. So last year, the district had a finding. It was fire district, it was finding 2101. It was compliance with Louisiana Revised Statute 382241, written contract and bond. And it says next to it, it's not resolvable. But you can't fix that because when I was auditing, the whole thing was over. You know, you didn't have a written contract, it didn't get recorded in the courthouse, and you didn't have a bond. But what y'all did do is on LaRonger, y'all did that construction project, y'all have all that. But that specific instance, it wasn't, you can't fix it because it was done. You can't go behind and record it. So, and then this year, and if y'all want to turn to page 49 of your big report, we'll read it. Y'all have 1 finding this year, and it's a compliance finding. It's page 49. All right. The title of it is Fire 2201, Violation of the 1974 Louisiana Constitution, Article 7, Section 14. Article 7, Section 14 of the 1974 Louisiana Constitution states that funds, credit, property, or things of value of any political subdivision shall not be loaned, pledged, or donated to or for any person, association, or corporation, public or private. On August 1st, 2022, the district paid $505,123 for the full prepayment of a Freightliner M2-106 MD pumper fire truck with a delivery date of 25 to 26 months. Based on the Louisiana Legislative Auditor Legal Questions section, it appears that this transaction is an advance of public funds. The advance appears to be in the form of a loan, which is prohibited by Article 7, Section 14 of the 1974 Louisiana Constitution. The prepayment also appears to be an uncollateralized loan, since there's no guarantee to deliver. It is recommended that the district stop prepaying in full for any product or service. So you may say, why did you write it up this year and you didn't write it up last year? Well, obviously this was an issue last year because this wasn't in the legislative auditor's legal question. The issue that exists here, per every single word, was the question. Like somebody else asked it for another fire department. So they have it, because last year we had discussions about it. And if I had written it up, it might have been a bad business practice to pay money and not earn interest on it, but interest rates weren't like they are right now. And again, there was no legal guidance, there wasn't an AG opinion, and there wasn't anything from the legislative auditor. So that's what's changed from last year to this year.
And I think we got that on the agenda tonight to stop that.
And I would just like to read for you, just so y'all know it is in your packet, flip over. This is the response, and I'll comment, and I'm just gonna read under they write the heading, and it said, "Had always been the policy of the fire district to always follow the requirements of federal, state, and local laws and regulations. I was not aware that the prepayment to order a fire truck was a potential problem, and I have contacted the manufacturer who agreed to a full refund of the amount paid. The payment will be made upon delivery of the fire truck. In the future, the Board of Commissioners will prohibit the prepayment for fire trucks or any other equipment, products, or services procured by the fire district in advance of actual delivery of the products or services." So it probably won't happen this meeting, because this is all just, we had the exit conference and discussed it. I do foresee y'all having this policy put in front of y'all for a vote to prohibit the advance payment for anything.
Well, Laura, if the check was returned,
It's coming. It hadn't made it here yet. It's not in your hand, they just said.
well, I'm trying to understand if it's.
So
let's
this
say-
is the issue, y'all weren't aware of it until I brought it to the district's attention. And then Elise has done a lot of work to get the check. First of all, the other problem is, they weren't even aware y'all prepaid for it. They had to call headquarters in another state to determine y'all had paid for the fire truck. So, I get what you're trying to get at, but it needs to stay.
Yeah. I mean, look, I don't wanna,
Look, if you stole a candy bar and you took it back, it don't matter, you still stole it.
Right. So,
but, wait, let me say this to
We don't
you.
have evidence that we did it, though.
If, and I might be wrong, but I can tell you at the federal level, if you can do an on-the-spot correction,
it's not an on-the-spot
it's not a
correction
finding.
yet.
Huh?
It's not been corrected, y'all still don't have the check. And today's June 26th.
And they've been had it for a year and a half.
Well, I know that, but we corrected it. But okay, that's all right, go ahead.
So, it's such a large dollar amount, and this is the second truck in 2 years. It's $855,000 of public money that's been taken out of use. And then the other thing is what if the company folded? Are they using your money to
Yeah,
pay
yeah.
for trucks ahead of y'all?
Yeah.
Are they having financial issues paying their debts?
And look, if you had that money now at 5% interest on a CD,
And I don't wanna compare us with other fire districts, but I wonder, and I bet you, other fire districts have done the same thing because the
So
supply
y'all
line
used to
is
not
so
do
bad.
this, so we've
Huh?
never paid, this is the second year, y'all fully paid for a fire truck in advance. Y'all have had different types of terms. Going way back, y'all did it kind of like a construction contract, 33%, and they sent you progress reports and you paid a little and they got another, and then on delivery you paid the final.
Yeah.
Sometimes y'all paid a deposit, because they might have the chassis at the warehouse, but they still have to put the doors and all the stuff on there.
Okay,
So,
all right, let's move on.
I
baby.
get it.
okay, you didn't
Okay,
do,
You
so,
win.
you didn't do very well with that.
Yes, you won.
Natal Benny had a finding in the prior year over some supplemental pay and some payroll reports. The new chief there has hired a CPA firm in Hammond to handle all of their payroll issues. So all their current year payroll was correct, and they are working on amending W-2s and back payroll tax returns. So Natal Benny's finding got resolved, and that was a great move by the chief.
That's good.
So let's move on really quick to the little, we don't even have to really look at it. I'm just going to show it to you.
All right.
Statewide agreed upon procedures, I'm sure y'all already know about it. So the legislative auditor said, hey, we want you to do them all over again. Even if you didn't have any last year, and y'all didn't have any last year in '21, we're gonna make you do them all over. Oh, and we're gonna throw some new ones in there. So just so you know, there were 74 actual procedures that I had to do, and you only had 4 exceptions. In the AUPs, there's no findings, you just report. They say, okay, do this. Now, did they do it? So I'm gonna tell you, the 4 were under credit cards. 3 were in credit cards, and this is on page 7 of 13, but I'm gonna go quick. 3 of 5 credit cards were not reviewed and approved by someone other than the card holder. So Dennis Crocker is technically the card holder of the credit cards. So like the Visa has his name on it, says Visa Dennis Crocker. So we need another person other than Dennis Crocker to approve that invoice for payment. We don't have that happening, but we've talked to Elise and Mr. James. He's got a really good recommendation on how to fix that. The other one was Office Depot and Walmart. Even though everybody kind of can use them, it still comes and it says Dennis Crocker. There needs to be another person other him, because at the time, it was just him with the charges. But like I said, Mr. James has a really good recommendation to go forward to fix that. The other one was, of the credit cards you tested, did anybody have a finance charge or a late fee? Y'all had one of the 5, it had a $3.71 finance charge. But again, this is not about materiality. Remember, I have to answer the question regardless, even if it was 2 cents, okay? And then the other one
Jesus.
was about itemized receipts that go behind the credit cards.
Yeah.
9 of the 11 did not have the itemized receipts. And the 3 months that were picked were January, February, and March of '22. So trying to get everybody who has a credit card to remember to keep the little itemized receipt from Walmart or Office Depot, that can tend to be a problem.
I got it fixed.
But Elise is on it. She's gonna take care of it. And then I told y'all there was 4. And y'all gonna take care of one of them tonight.
Yeah.
So the question is, inquire and/or observe whether the agency has appointed an ethics designee. Well, y'all haven't officially, there's nowhere in the minutes, an ethics designee.
We'll do it tonight.
So I just have to say there wasn't one. So that's it. And
I just
We'll
got,
fix that too.
I know we're trying to get out of here, but I do have one question. The people that oversee the credit card, like Dennis, and then if we do Elise on there, I guess this is Dennis J, might be your question, I don't know. Does that person have to be bonded? Just like on the checkbook?
I would think so, because, you could have an unauthorized charge. What I don't like about a credit card is that once they make the charge, you're legally obligated to afford to pay it, whether you like it or not, get your account. So it really sort of circumvents the purchase order system that we have in place. But there's some vendors that just, it's easier to do the credit card.
So,
What I can do is contact the insurance agent in the morning and make absolutely sure we have the daily bond coverage.
I think that'd be a good idea, I really do. And that would keep it, if the card was to get away from somebody and somebody, forged something, at least we cover ourselves with that,
And I will tell you that there are not a lot of credit card charges in frequency, and the amounts are relatively small, so we don't really have a problem, but that's a great idea.
Okay.
Okay.
I just wanted to thank y'all again for using me and entrusting me to do a good job for y'all and report what I do find. And then I want to thank Dennis James and Paul Riggs. They're the accounting firm. I couldn't do this audit without them. They let me actually do the audit at their office in their boardroom. I camp out in there for a week, and their whole staff is very friendly and always are very helpful. And it was a great decision for y'all to use them, and I want to give them a lot of praise because they got me through this. So there we go.
Well, thank you, Laurie. Did a
Thank
good
you,
job,
Laurie.
Laurie.
Thank you.
And we kinda like them too, they okay. The girls mostly, not them two, but the girls.
All right, we probably need a motion to approve her.
Also move.
Mr. Bruno, second by Mr. Villar. Whew, roll call, please.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Coates? Yes. Mr. Forrest?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgel?
Yep.
Mr. Mayu? Yes. Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes. Okay, item 7, approval to change policies and procedures to end prepayment for fire trucks. Can I get a motion?
So move.
Mr. Bruno?
Second.
Ms. Vial? Roll call, please.
Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Forrest?
Yes.
Mr. Graffia?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno? Mr. Ridgel? Mr. Mayu? Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes, and when you do the minutes, put this in bold print.
Okay.
That's Number 8, approval for a 90-day pay increase for the administrative assistant. Now, you've been working 3 days per week, but now it's,
I've been working 4
4.
since we've been getting ready for the audit.
okay,
What'd you say? No.
how do we want to handle that?
I mean, in the past, we, because of the situation, we had gone to, I think, full-time for a short period of time, I believe, and see how we could work this out. I know initially I remember we initially hired, I mean, I know it's a little different circumstances. We said we would meet again as a personnel committee, discuss that process and see where we wanted to go. It's kind of up to you, Mr. Joseph.
So that's your, well,
You
Did
know,
the,
It's,
I'm
I
sorry.
mean, I think she's done a great job. It's
Yeah.
just, you know, I think we need to sit down and talk about this a little
Okay.
bit. See what we're gonna do.
Did the personnel committee have an opportunity to meet on?
no, that's what I think he's recommending, that we send it to the personnel committee.
Yeah, I think it's.
I think we need a motion to table and we'll meet.
Why you need
Put
to
it back
table
on.
it? We send it to the personnel committee.
Well, you still have to do some action with this item.
Yeah.
It's on the
Yeah.
So
agenda.
you have to table it.
Oh, man.
Well, no, look, you can appoint a committee.
Yeah, that's what I'm
We
saying.
have a personnel committee. We
No, I
just need to
mean, he
meet.
can charge the personnel committee with taking it
Take it
up
up,
and
yeah.
bringing it back. If we get it done before the next meeting, we can call a special meeting at the next council meeting to handle
To
just
handle
that
it.
matter.
Yeah,
So she doesn't have to wait a whole month.
right.
So if he, in charge of the committee to meet now, we'll meet, and then we can call a special fire board meeting in 2 weeks, so that way she doesn't have to wait a whole month till the next fire board
No,
meeting.
we still have to do, we still have to do some action on this item
With
tonight.
just no vote, just let it die.
Well, look, let me say this. I don't know, I'm up here, but I'm like Chief, I'm up here every day, at least. I mean, 2 and 3 times a day, the sign stuff.
Look, I don't think any of us could say,
Yeah.
she stepped into
Yeah.
a really bad situation, and she, as far as I know, and talking to my chiefs, she's done a great job. I think we would do her a disservice if we didn't look at it and bring it back and let the whole
Yeah,
board.
whatever she
Yeah.
gets, she deserves it.
And I only raised the question because it didn't go through the personnel. It
Yeah.
was not against the raise or anything.
Yeah.
No,
That's one reason.
If we table it, it automatically goes on the next agenda. So, whatever. It
Well, that's
doesn't matter.
good, table it. I'll make the motion, I'll second it. We'll table
All
it
right, come on,
to.
let's go, we gotta get out of here. Give me a motion.
So move.
Huh?
I make the motion, we table.
All right, and second?
I'll second it.
Second, Mr. Blue.
I'd
Roll
also
call.
like to put in the stipulation that if the committee gets it ready before the next council meeting,
Okay.
that we call a special meeting and put it on.
Okay.
Either you could do that, or at the next fire board meeting, you can make the payment retroactive.
Yeah.
We do
Well,
that.
That's
So
a
we're
good
gonna
one.
have to
I
have,
like that.
yeah.
look over here.
Let's do that. Let's make it, I like what you say, Lonnie.
She didn't like that one, Will.
All right,
Kinda like that fire truck.
Yeah, that's like that fire truck.
All right, Mr. Forrest?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yeah.
Mr. Ridgel? Mr. Mayu? Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Coates?
Yes.
All right, okay, that motion passes. Approval for the administrative assistant to get credit card on district account.
I have a question on that one too.
All right, go ahead,
We
Dave.
have an administrative credit card, correct?
It's got Dennis's name
Dennis,
I mean, he's the only one that can use it.
legally.
Um,
I mean, I've.
You
been-
have been using
I
it.
have it, and I have used it, but
Yeah.
there's some places that want ID and all that, and if I show it and it says Dennis Crocker, I'm not Dennis
and how many
Crocker.
credit cards do we have floating around as far as, do
Just
Fireboard.
just the Visa account.
we have
So-
one? Is that what we're
Yes,
saying? We have one
credit
card?
card that on the Visa account is what I'm asking for.
Can we have 2 names on one card?
I used it, I had to go buy some stuff for the high water
Two different
truck,
names on
blew
the
a
same
tire,
account.
and I had to go run and pick up stuff for it, and then when I went to the, urban search and rescue, got called out for the, missing gentleman
Man.
in Hammond, I went and bought
Bought
food
food.
and drinks for the firemen that were searching.
I mean, I think we need,
Dennis, can we have 2 names on one credit card?
I think you can have 2 cards.
Two card.
Count.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
but you can't have two names.
No, it had to have one with my name on. I mean,
Lionel, you got
I'm just trying to be legal, you know, if
Yeah.
I go somewhere.
I think what she's asking is just to have a second
card.
Yeah, just second user. I just want one that has my name on it.
Second user. Because I
One
mean,
credit card with two.
think about some of the
People
things
don't
that,
think I'm committing fraud,
No,
but then it's
I'm all
a
for it.
fraud.
I'm just saying, think of some of the things you got written up for tonight.
Oh,
Credit-
Lisa's, been on top of getting all these.
Credit cards, you know?
Oh,
credit
yeah, I
cards,
got
3 or
the
4 things.
receipts. I
So,
told you, I got that fixed.
you know, so.
Yeah.
Ask John Police how much I aggravate him on receipts.
All right,
Well,
well,
actually, this is what we were discussing, if she had a card in her name, then, because she's the assistant.
Right.
The fire administrator would review her
Her.
charges and sign off on them, and then she could review his
Yes,
charges and sign off on them,
Right.
and send them up for payment.
that makes sense.
Okay.
Okay, what's the wishes of the board?
I'll make a motion that we get a Visa card in the name of, our secretary.
Okay, can I get a second?
Second here.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Ingraffia,
Yes.
Mr. Bruno, Mr. Ridgel, Mr. Mayu, Mr. Wells, Mr. Vial,
Yes.
Ms. Hyde,
Yes.
Ms. Coates, Mr. Forrest,
Yes.
Mr. Joseph.
Yes. Motion passes. Approval to purchase the asset inventory tags and software. Look, as the board knows, you know, we were struggling a while ago trying to get the inventory up to date. And one reason why it wasn't up to date because our system was antiquated. So I asked her to look into the possibility to bring us up to the 21st century as far as some type of program to keep us up to date with the inventory. So I'm gonna let her run it down to you.
I'm proposing that we get it's called Panda Asset Software. We would purchase the tags that have barcodes on them, that you can capable of loading an app on your phone. You can scan the barcode, then you can pull up what the item is. Once we put the tag on the item, we would take a picture of it, and as we get new stuff, we'll be able to scan a copy of the invoice and attach it. It's very good software. We can be able to tell you what department has it, what building it's in, what truck it's on, what compartment on the truck it's in. We can go very detailed. If it has to be, you know, a small item, it's a big item, at least we know what station it's in. That's biggest trouble, and Laura can tell you, she's seen some of the inventory stuff we have. It's hard to keep track of anything.
Yeah.
As I've come into this, I'm learning, and we don't know where anything is. I'm telling
But
you.
if we can get-
Right now, all I know is Ponchatoula owns a boat. I have no idea where it is. I know we bought it on X day, and we paid X number of dollars for it, but other than that, don't know a thing about it
Okay.
in our software system.
Now,
So
the cost here are.
How much is it?
There's annual cost, right? I mean, it's initial cost and
it's
also.
initial cost of about $2,000 for the tags and the setup. Once we get it set up, it's $1.60 per asset, which will be about $5,000 a year, and that will increase as we add assets.
Now, if we take them off, it'll automatically,
Yes,
we just enter what we taken off and it pulls it out of the system.
yes, sir, yes,
And
sir,
that comes out of administrative funds?
Yeah.
yes, sir.
Now, these are, is there a reason why you picked, I'm not up to speed on this one, but is there a reason why you picked this particular
I
company?
looked at
or
several
you-
different
Research.
software, and this one's very customizable, so we can make it have this kind of drop-down box where we can pick which department. We can make it have a drop-down box that has, you know, what funding it was paid for, whether it's FEMA grant money, or 2% money, or ad valorem tax, or forestry grant money, which we are required to keep. Mr. Dennis James can tell you that we just went through the FEMA audit on the air packs, and you're required by law to keep that in inventory labeled.
Right.
If you bought something on FEMA money or forestry money or whatever, which we don't do that now. So this is very customizable to what, we can make it to what we want. And I'm wanting to purchase it strictly for Fire District 2, but in addition to what Fire District 2 can use it for, each fire department's chief can have a login
Right.
where they can look at their equipment and see what they have and know what they have and where it is.
And they can tell when it was purchased, how old it is.
Right. We're gonna be a little bit limited on the past equipment, but like we'll add it in, but we may not have all that information when we add it in. But as going forward, we'll have all that information filled in. And I've gotten, Donnie down at Natalbany, he has agreed to be my pilot program. And he has a wonderful retired Dr. Randy Satoon that works for him. And he's nerded out on this, and he likes it, and he has agreed to set it all up and start with them first. And
He helps the lot.
I don't know about that description, but I mean,
She's about right. I've been with her several times. Okay, any more questions?
Did we just contact one software company or we did
I went through about 4 different software companies, but since it was under $10,000, I did not get bids. I just compared them myself and found this one to be the one that I liked the best.
Any more questions?
Mr. Dennis, have you ever heard of this company, or have you had any experience with any of your other clients? With any?
I'm not familiar with this particular software, but technology has created some wonderful inventory asset management software that I think we really need to implement. For years, we've been sort of written up in our audit about not having a good inventory, not taking an inventory. One of the good things that Elise did is we finally completed the inventory last year of all of the fire departments. So we looked at everything, we've got a list. Our office has been maintaining our inventory in an Excel spreadsheet, so we have something, but it's very limited. These new software, you can scan documents, you can take a picture of the asset itself, and all that's stored. So when you want to see what a chief is supposed to have at his station, it's all there. So have I looked at this particular software? No. Do I think it's in your best interest to go to a fixed asset management software? Absolutely, yes.
Yes, no doubt about it.
well, look, it's not that much money. It's 2,000 initially, and then based on, so if we use it a year
The
and we
software is
find out,
8,000.
yeah.
The
if we
software is
find-
8,000, Bruno.
And we find out that it's not doing what we want it to do. But, I think she kind of did some really good research on this, so.
So I have a question. So where did you get the 5,000 assets?
That's what we have now.
Okay, so are we gonna use 5,000 assets this year?
Yes. We would maintain at least that every year. Between buying new stuff and getting rid of old stuff, we would probably have about 5,000 every year.
So that is putting our old stuff in the system now?
Yes, yes, ma'am. it
So
is.
that is part of this 5,000?
Yes,
yeah.
ma'am. That's what I'm wanting to do, is go to each department and do a complete full everything and redo with new inventory tags and everything and bring it all up to date.
Okay, have you looked at any reviews online for this software?
Yes, I have, and everyone that I read was elated with this software. And then Dr. Satoon, he said he used this previously in another job that he had, and he said he liked it there and he likes it here. He's not here tonight, but I did let him play with it some. And Carl with Manchac Fire Department, who works for DuPont, he's been playing with it some, and everybody seems to like it.
Okay, last question. What is the support on this? Like,
Well, it depends, once we have it set up, it depends on how many hours we use in support. He said the 750 was gonna give us about 15 hours. So if we were to purchase more support after the initial setup, it would be about that price, $750 for 15 hours.
So where are you getting the 2,000? When I add up what's on this quote, it's $10,880.
It's, initial setup is $750 in the implementation. The tags themselves the tags are $630 for the tags that can go on just any kind of issue. The tags that can go on like equipment that has to go into a fire is $1,600. And then the software itself is $7,900.
So it's about 10 grand.
Right.
Shouldn't we maybe
Move
get
with
it,
John.
see if we can get a less expensive, software?
I think we need to go with what we got. I mean, you get what you pay for.
Well,
That's a lot of money.
I'll throw it out there. I say, let's give it a whirl. I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Bruno.
I'm good.
One last question. Are we under contract with this? Are we like, is it a yearly contract or we own the software?
No, it's a contract.
So it's like 12 months, every 12 months. So at the end of 12 months, if we did not want to renew this for next year, we can get out of it.
Yes,
And we don't have to pay next year.
yes,
But this is gonna be a yearly, the 7,900 is gonna be every year.
yes.
But just remember, in the first year, we get all our stuff tagged, and you'll have tags on it, you'll have pictures of it. So even if we quit them, we still have that, correct?
It'll have the tag, but we won't have the
Access to
software
the
to be
software
able to
to use
scan
it.
it and use it.
I mean, we need to come into the modern world. And
Yeah.
this is kind of it.
I agree, I just would like to know if there were ones that were less expensive.
Well, we gotta trust the staff at
I'll
some point in
second.
time.
I'll second.
Jesus.
I'll
Huh?
second. I'll second.
Okay, second by Mr. Viad. Roll call.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgel? Mr. Mayu?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Forrest?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes. Thank you all very much.
The ethics.
You'll reap the benefits, trust me.
I don't know. That was his iPad.
His iPad was talking.
Uh,
It didn't know
That's
something.
AI. It's artificial intelligence.
And he didn't know something.
Item 11,
Did you hear what it said?
He said, I don't know.
It said, Omaha.
appointment of ethics designee as required by revised statute 42:1170. I'm gonna recommend that we appoint Mrs. Cottrell as the ethics designee, unless you all have someone else you wanna put in the position.
Also move.
Motion by Mr. Vial,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Forrest. Roll call, please.
Mr. Ridgel? Mr. Mayu? Mr. Wells? Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Forrest?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno? Mr. Joseph?
Yes. Now, Lord, I would think that would have to be displayed someplace on our board, wouldn't it?
No, I just need to see it in the minutes that
In the minute.
y'all appointed somebody.
Okay.
She's gonna sign the, like, things that get posted anyway, so.
okay,
now
good.
y'all have it, y'all are good.
All right, good. All right, discussion of, do we have a roll call? We do a roll call.
We
didn't
did roll call.
Okay, item 12, discuss section 36-143, general infrastructure reviews and approval, dry hydrants. I'm gonna defer to Mr. Vial or Mr. Bruno to discuss this.
The regulation, no, we're gonna do this real quick. Regulation committee brought up a suggestion. Can you hear me? The regulations committee brought up at the last regulations committee about in new developments that if there are ponds that will hold water in the development, that a requirement of a dry hydrant will be put in the developments at the expense of the developer, not at the expense of the departments. This will be only in ponds that are holding water, not retention ponds that are out of water. So if there's a lake in the subdivision, there'll be a dry hydrant where the fire departments can access. So that has to come not to the parish council, but to the fire board for that recommendation to be put into the subdivision regulations. So it was recommended and passed unanimous that we bring it back to the fire board for the approval to have this put into the regulations for new subdivisions. So with that, I'll make the motion to add that to the new subdivision regulations.
And I'll second.
Wait.
Mr. Bruno, any of the chiefs have any comments here? That'd be my question.
I was told these, by Vernon, they have some, they got several of them. They gotta have the right depth so they don't create a vortex, and they gotta be off the ground so they don't suck up mud.
Yeah.
And they gotta have access to them.
That's
Other than that, they work great.
Yeah.
That's why I
Wait a minute, Johnny, you had
Put this
something.
in
What did you have?
Can't hear you. Microphone, please.
It's only gonna be developments that have a pond in the development of it, Johnny. If they don't have a pond in the development of it, this won't take place.
Okay, well, y'all familiar with MKS Plastics? Big expansion, that's in my area. They did dig a 1 acre pond and put 2 dry hydrants that I requested. They didn't really have to. But in the future, y'all might need to start looking at commercial development.
Yeah. Well, we can talk about that at the next one. Who else had something? Dale?
I did, but I think, I got a bone in my leg. I think he answered the question, does I'm not familiar with what you're passing. Does it include the questions that he had, the right depth, accessible and all that? Because if you put it in a pond 50 yards away from the road, we can't get the truck.
Well, that's all being worked out. All this was to get the ball rolling, to add it into, but I'm hoping we'll get our engineers to get with y'all and see what the depth is and all of that stuff, so they're put in at the way that y'all need them put in.
Right, we have specs on it.
Okay.
Can we include that in the motion?
Huh?
Can we include that in the motion?
Yeah, I'll do it.
It's all in NFPA has all the requirements of how they gotta be
Yes,
set. So
that's
that,
why I
if
included
it's
it
in,
in
if y'all put
everyone's
that in there,
packet.
it'll be over, yeah.
All right,
in your
let's do this. I make a motion that the fire board agrees to the changes at the regulation committee with the NFPF, is that it?
NFPA.
NFPA.
PA regulations. Is that gonna meet the duty of everybody? Paul?
NFPA can get very elaborate and expensive and stuff like that. Maybe we say that you form a committee and we'll approve it.
Well, I tell you what, I know something better. Why don't y'all get together, write us up how it's gotta be, and we'll just take that to the committee and add it into the ordinance. All right? So if y'all will get that to Elise,
Okay,
if y'all get that to Elise,
you want a motion?
yes, the motion will be that the chiefs will draw up what the regulations are for the dry hydrants, get it to Elise, and it'll be brought back to the committee to add into the ordinance.
Okay, second by
We'll
Mr.
meet again
Dean.
in a month, so if they can get it for us.
All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Ridgel? Yep. Mr. Mayu? Yes. Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Forrest?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes. We have 1, 2, 3 items left, and I'm going to interrupt this meeting to announce that LSU 6, Florida 2, top of the second.
Thanks a lot, dude. I watch my delayed TV. Thanks.
But they got the bases loaded and number 6 is coming up, so that's all of the runs for tonight.
Monthly reports in the register. Y'all should have gotten an email on those. Any questions? Administrator's report. You've heard from Elise already. Other fire matters. None?
All right, buddy.
Motion to adjourn.
Move adjourn.
Then.